to another exciting edition of Doodling with Purpose. Fun with hieroglyphs. Well, because we've been learning hieroglyphs. And about this time in our lessons, if you've been following since week 1, and I definitely suggest not binging this this playlist, but learning it, doing it week by week, because there's a goal. We're trying to turn you, well, not exactly into an Egyptian or into a candidate for the Miss Egyptian contest, but into a qualified scholar who is both knowledgeable about Egyptian history and can actually write and read hieroglyphics, which there's a lot of purposes for that. You could use it to impress someone at a party. You could use it to actually travel to Egypt and uncover mysteries of the pharaohs. Or you could just enjoy learning something at home. But the point is, we're doing this week by week, and that is the recommended way to learn this. So let's get started for this week. So here's a word we learned quite a while ago, the word for bird, apid, A-P-D, or bird, pool, hand, apid. The way to make this into a plural, if you want to say birds, is to add the W, the chick at the end, apid, apidu, with a W. Now, the other way is by adding a determinative at the end, in this case a determinative of a bird, with 3 strokes under it. This is another way of doing the plural. And when you write the plural with a determinative with 3 strokes, you don't need the W. That's just the way the language works. Hey, accept it and learn it. All right, another way the plural is written, and a less common way, is by writing the sign 3 times. So this is the sign for land. So by writing the sign for land, which is a rectangle with 3 dots under it, 3 sand dots, that is going to be the word for lands. This method for writing the plural is much less common than adding the chick, which is the letter W, or adding a determinative with the 3 strokes, because it's usually only used for things that come in pairs. In this case with lands, there's Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt, the delta and the desert. There's 2 areas. So since there's 2 lands, you'll often see things that are double written with 3 versions of the glyph. So this would just translate into lands, not land, land, land. All right, at this point is probably, well, definitely recommended that you start keeping vocabulary flashcards. And much as you would do this for any foreign language you're learning, my recommendation is to write the word on one side of the card and then both the meaning and the pronunciation on the other. You should definitely get used to the difference between certain letters like H, which could be H or H, depending on how it's pronounced. And there's accent marks for all of these. I can go over them in a lesson if people want, but it's pretty easy because this is an English issue, not a hieroglyphic issue, how to write the difference between H, H, and H, H. All right, so here's another word you should be learning and adding to your vocabulary list. This is nub, N-B. So here is a word that pairs with it. This is the word for thing, chut. It's the H, the H, the T, and then the determinative of the papyrus scroll, which means objects, with 3 dashes, meaning plural. So things. The NB, nub, after it, when this follows a word, it means any or all. So this would be everything. In hieroglyphs, the descriptor, the every, would come after the noun. So the noun for thing, chut, will come first, and then nub, meaning every or all, comes after. Chut nub, everything, or thing every, if you were going to say it literally. And that's the way the word order works. So let's look at another example. This is the Egyptian place Abbas. A-B-Dua, Abdus. It's a town. You know that because it has the determinative for town there at the end, the circle with the X. So if we're going to go through and pronounce this, you've got A-B, the chisel, the B, I think I wrote that as a D, it should be a B, the foot, and the D-W, and then the determinative, abidos. If you put nb, the NB glyph, before a word, it becomes the word Lord, not the word every. So this would read Lord of Abydos, not all Abydos. If you're going to use NB first, it's the only word that really behaves like this, and it's a special word, which is why I bring it up now. So if you see NB, NB, first, before a noun, in this case the noun of the city, Abydos, it means the word Lord, Lord of Abydos. There's no Egyptian word for of. And if the NB comes after the noun, it then becomes the word every or all, as we saw previously when it is put after the word things. So this again means everything, or pronounced literally thing every, and you know that thing is plural because it has 3 strokes under the determinative. Again, this is the determinative is the papyrus roll, which is used for objects, things that just sort of exist. So in this case, it becomes a determinative for things, things plural with the 3 strokes, and NB following it makes it everything, as opposed to Lord of things. It would have to be before it. All right, you might want to watch this video once or twice because I know there's a few things that are a little tricky. And next week, we're going to jump more into nouns and adjectives, noting again how the adjectives come after the noun in Egyptian, just like we did with everything. What type of thing? Everything. But the every comes afterwards. And from that, we're going to start to learn more vocabulary, which is why you should be starting those flashcards. Definitely a good idea to start now because we're only going to get more intensive here on Doodling with Purpose. I hope you're enjoying the series. Please let me know any comments or thoughts. Like it or subscribe because it tells YouTube to share it with more people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.